All right, we're just gonna wait until everybody gets in, and then we'll start. All right, perfect. People are getting in now. Hmm. All right, perfect. I think we're gonna start now. All right. So hi everyone. Um, I hope everyone is having a fabulous, doing fabulous. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Um, Hi, my name is Jesus Herrera. I am an HR employee inside the Swope Health Administration. And so I will be your amazing host for today. It's an honor. And to start off, I would like to start off with multiple fun facts about Hispanic heritage. Um, to start off, the word Hispanic is a term that groups all Americans of Mexican or Latin American descent in one category. There are 21 Spanish-speaking countries. Amazing fun fact, those countries are, it's 21, so it's a pretty long list, but I like to kind of, say those countries. It's Mexico, Colombia, Spain, Argentina, Peru, Venezuela, Chile, Ecuador, Guatemala, Cuba, Bolivia, Dominican Republic, Honduras, Paraguay, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Uruguay, Puerto Rico, and Equatorial Guinea. Other countries that speak Spanish that are not on the international Spanish speaking list is, for example, Brazil, Portugal, Haiti, and Belize. That's only because Spanish is not their primary language. That is more of the secondary or third language. Um, Hispanic Heritage Week was created in 1968 by President Lyndon Johnson and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988. And that's pretty much to cover a 30-day period. And it used to be a week, but they covered it into a 30-day period, starting from September 15th and ending in October 15th. They started that in 1988. Um, my last fun fact, because we are from Kansas City, and love barbecue. Well, most of us do. We have the best barbecue. The U.S. says it. The best tight end in the NFL, Travis Kelce, says it, and I hope Taylor Swift says it as well. Um, uh, the word barbecue is derived from the Spanish word barbacoa and comes from a mix of Spanish and Caribbean traditions. With that being said, today we have a special guest. I'd like to welcome Mr. Jaime Guillen, who is a graduate from the University of Missouri, who actively serves as the Director of Civil Rights and Equal Opportunity Department for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Welcome, Mr. Guillen.
Welcome. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor. I got the invitation. I was like, oh wait, we get to talk a little bit about myself. So uh, thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation to join you guys.
Yes. Um, so first and foremost, I want to thank you for being here, Mr. Guillen, and behalf of the Swope Health Organization as well. But I do have multiple questions for you,
Sure.
Mr. Yin, and I would like to start out by if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, your current role, and your education.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Jalisco, Mexico. So I was born there. My family's there. We moved up to Kansas City in 1979. Um, so I was a baby basically when we moved up here. But I've grown up here my whole life, my entire life. I grew up on Kansas City's west side. Um, I kind of stayed in a 3 block area. Um, Went to KCPS schools. Like you mentioned, I attended UMKC, so I'm a RU. Um, I uh, got my bachelor's degree in business administration in Spanish as well, which I speak Spanish, but it's the whole literature part of it. So that's what really I liked about it. So I had the opportunity to do that while I was there too. After that, I went to work for KCPS again. I worked in the language the world language department, which basically entailed English as second language students. We also had a bunch of different. We had a family advocacy department or division within the department. So we did a lot of support for newcomers and people that were limited English proficient or students and their families. So I did that until about 2007. After that, I had opportunity to uh, go and work for Jackson County, which I had always had like a interest in policy, government. I was part of different groups in college, so I thought it was a good opportunity for me to kind of switch careers, but also pursue something that I had liked as when I was younger. So I started at Jackson County in 2007, and um, I started as a legislative aide to Teresa Garza, which I believe might be part of this next week, I think, or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So there, I had opportunity to learn a lot about local government. The counties after the city is probably one of the larger governments in the area. But what I did like about it a lot was that I had the opportunity to there's 18 municipalities in the county, so I had an opportunity to work with a lot of them, and you get to see like the different needs of the county, of the community, people that live in smaller areas. It's different than somebody that lives downtown. So I really enjoyed all that. I really enjoyed um, doing work at the county. I learned a lot. Um, Kind of how I got into compliance and everything. But yeah, that's kind of leads up to how I joined Jackson County. In 2000, was it like 14? I switched over to the compliance side and kind of took another career turn. But yeah, that kind of led me down this path now. I started in the auditor's office at Jackson County at that time, and um, so within the auditor's office, there's a compliance office. So I started with a small team there. It was a two-person team, um, and that's where I really learned about prevailing wage issues that we dealt with within a compliance office. Um, as an aide, I was one of our things that we did. We were researching and implemented was MBE and WBE programs, which are minority business enterprise and women business enterprise programs. Um, and I had the opportunity to work on the policy side. And then when I transitioned over to the compliance office, was actually implementation of those policies. So I got to go in at the ground level and kind of build that process. And as that program grew, I had the opportunity to elevate my position. I was appointed as Chief Compliance Review Officer um, in 2020, something like that. And I had the opportunity and was given the chance to kind of grow the department, implement different changes. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how I started also down the compliance route. It's one of those careers or career paths where it's hard to say as when you're young or in college, hey, I want to be a compliance officer. It's kind of something that you just kind of fall into. And I've always kind of liked to help people in anything that I do. If I have an opportunity to do it, I looked at this compliance work as me trying to help small businesses or individuals. So it fulfilled that need for me to help people, while also giving me a career. So that was kind of the main thing about it.
Okay.
Um, so I did that, and then kind of leads me to my role today, which is, um, director of the CREO department, which is civil rights and equal opportunity.
Okay, well, definitely thank you for sharing that. Following up on that question, so I wanted to ask you, what are your day-to-day activities as a community leader?
So, as a community leader, my role here at work. So, um, the day-to-day activity. So I've been in my role for about 3 weeks now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm
Fresh.
fairly new, so I'm still getting all the ins and outs. But it is, managing our department. We have lots of. Uh, well, I'll tell you a little bit of what we do first. Um, our department handles, again, MBE, WBE goals. So, we assign goals to contracts. We also monitor those goals to make sure that people are actually utilizing the small businesses that they said that they would on different contracts. So we do that. Another part about that is that we ensure that workers are getting paid their correct wages. So we enforce prevailing wage laws. So we will go out to construction sites or any project that has a prevailing wage requirement, and we actually interview the workers. And we're asking them, how much you're getting paid, um, and we compare that to their payrolls to make sure there's no discrepancies. If there is, we work with the contractor to get them their correct wage. So those are the two major things that we do. We also do civil rights discrimination complaints for the public. So if under Title VII and Title VI. And what we do there is if we receive a complaint, we have investigators that will go and do reports, investigate, and look for probable cause. Um, Title VI and Title VII cover the protected classes, gender, race, national origin, things of that nature, in housing and employment. So we investigate them. So that's a public facing service that we provide for anybody within the city.
Okay.
Um, so a day to day for me right now is not typical because I'm so new. So I'm juggling attending legislative meetings or committee meetings with staff meetings with um, just trying to get a grip on processes of the city and all that stuff. So I don't have a typical day quite yet. I guess what it is like see what's new the next day, you know? Yeah.
Okay. So for the last 3 weeks,
Mhm.
I'll say this. So being very busy, as you explained,
Yeah.
for the last 3 weeks, how do you manage like your balance in your work life and family life? So
So that's something that I always try to do. I have younger children, and I have to make some kind of type of adjustment. And I guess that's the thing. That's the key question is how do you do that? Why do you do that? Like to me, I have to make it intentional to try to manage that balance because I think in the long run it helps me do my job. It helps me come in here with a clear head and focus. So there's some things that I try to use because I'm kind of big on that one. First of all, I utilize any piece of technology I have to try to stay organized, right? So I use my calendars, all that kind of stuff. I try to make it a point to uh, respond to emails only within work hours if I can. Sometimes you can't. So I try to do that. Also, I you know, when I get home, I know that my kids are going to want to do something. We have activities planned, so I have to make sure that I know ahead of time. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Um, I have to try to claw back as much time as I can. So on the work side, I try to do that. And it's a task
yeah.
because you also want to be responsive. You want to be available. And right now, you're pretty much available anywhere. I have apps on my phone. I have Teams, all that stuff. So you're accessible everywhere. But I try to do that. Okay, once I leave the office, even if it's a little late, then I'm just going to kind of stop until the next day. Um, Other things that I do is like, uh, and this is just me, but I try to claw back as much time as I can, to spend time with the family and the kids. I use every type of Instacart stuff to try to get me that hour back to where I could be at the park with my son, uh, instead of being in the grocery store. So
DoorDash
I
for your
do all
kids.
that kind of stuff, and then I do my own thing. Like I like biking, so I'll schedule around that. I'm like, okay, at this time I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna hit a trail. do something like that, kind of clear my head. And I would try to do that, like, you know, on a morning, Saturday or Sunday morning, to where it's just pretty peaceful. And that helps me recharge. I mean, it helps me get through, uh, ready for the next week. I try not to think about stuff, but it's like that gives you that clarity to get back to what's pending at the office. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, so I try to be very intentional about striking that balance as much as possible.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
Um, so another question that I had for you was, why is so, being a director for your position, why is the work you do important to the everyday Kansas City, Missouri residents?
Um, that's twofold. So we work a lot with small business, so we're ensuring that they're have equal access, and they're getting paid and utilized. So I think for on the business side, on the enterprise side, we're helping them grow. You know, we're helping them grow. We're helping them, be on a fair playing field. Um, Small businesses as they grow, I mean, they help the community the most. They're our neighbors. They're uh, people that are here. The Dollar Stay here. So it's just a list of how I think that how we provide help and assistance and support for them to grow their business. So on that side, we do that. I also think the very critical function of us is um, the our civil rights part, because everybody deserves, to have, equal access to housing or employment. Um, so I think on that side, that's how our public facing side, that we're able to reach the public and ensure that that's happening. So I think we provide a vital service to them. I think that's how we can interact with people and let them know what we do.
Yeah. What is the difference with your work at City,
Mhm.
and your previous work at Jackson County? I know you mentioned your previous position. What would the difference be between those two uh, jobs that you worked?
So, I like I mentioned at the city, we take on the additional component of civil rights investigations. That was something that we didn't do at Jackson County, not within our compliance office. Um, well, another the huge difference is like the workload here. I mean, we're managing a ton of projects, but it's just because it's there's it's a bigger entity. But I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of it is processes are very similar, as far as how things are assigned or how we monitor. It's just scaled up a bit. But yeah, it's that. It's also learning a totally new process for me. Like, each government, yes, it's government. Some of the fundamentals are the same. You have a council or you have a legislature and you have a process to get things through and all that. But then it's different. It's a different process um, to learn. So I think that's the biggest thing too, is how um, the difference in how we actually get from point A to point B. Um, but yeah, I just think it's a little scaled up, um, from what we were doing before, from what I was doing before. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Um, so now I'm gonna go based off of, this is more a general question.
Mhm.
What is the best career advice you've ever received um, in your career?
Don't limit yourself. Um, it's a simple thing, but if there's an opportunity, don't don't limit yourself by saying, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't apply because whatever reason." People put a lot of barriers in front of themselves, and I someone told me that years back, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's simple enough. But when it comes down to it, I mean, change is hard, change is difficult, and um, I think to me that has always been a thing, is don't limit yourself, because you're not gonna. you're gonna miss an opportunity that you don't take. You know, so to me, that's always been huge. And um, you know, coming here to me was a huge move. Like I had been at Jackson County for 15 years. So I was long. It was a long time. I felt comfortable, everything. Um, but I decided to take the leap, and it worked out for me. But if I had not done that, then or stayed in my comfort zone, I would not be here. So to me, it's like don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. Take the opportunities, you know, and and yeah.
Very good advice. Yeah, that's I'm a recruiter myself, so I recommend people to even if you have 20% of those qualities, apply to
Hmm.
the position.
Right.
So thank you for sharing that. Another question that I have for you would be, what mistakes did you make that you wouldn't do now? Or what do you tell yourself? What would you tell your younger self
Hmm.
um, now?
Um, speak up. Speak up. I think like when I was younger, I was very shy. I didn't want to rock the boat or anything like that. Um, so I would tell myself to speak up. Again, don't limit myself. Take opportunities. Meet people. Meet people. Network. Um, and yeah, I mean, I not that those were mistakes, but I would look back and say, hey, I needed to do that a little bit more. Um, and this is kind of a fun one, but travel for sure. you know, yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's the one thing that I wish I could have done more. But yeah,
Travel. Good.
yeah.
Um, Regarding your position, your current role,
Yep.
what improvements would you like to see happen in your current role?
So there's a few, but I would say like one of the biggest things is to make more awareness of what we do. Um, Reach out, let the public know services that we can provide. For example, like I said or mentioned, um, our civil rights investigation team and all that. Just let people know that that's available to them. That's one of the biggest things. Kind of an awareness campaign, as well as for our small businesses as well. We do certifications, so we want to let them know that there's a service that's available. Um, Internally, my thing is how do we streamline processes to make it easier for our customers or clients. So that's some of the bigger things that I would like to do. Um, Collaborate with other departments or other entities as well. Um, Say with Jackson County or even some of the smaller municipalities around here on different issues. Prevailing wage, for example, that's something that it's kind of a regional thing. So yeah, I increase that collaboration. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, I think those are some of the major things. It's outreach for sure on all fronts, but yeah, making the public aware that we are a resource for them.
Yeah, awareness.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that. So my fun question for you, I
Mhm.
think we've gone over everything now, but my fun question for you would be, what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Oh, well, let me see. There was a couple things, and I don't know like where I strayed a little bit, but uh, when I first, when I was, that makes me think like, what did I want to be? I wanted to be a police officer when I first, as far as I can remember, like that was the first thing, and I thought it was cool to, have a uniform and a car with lights on it. So I was like, yeah, that'd be fun. And then and that's, I don't know, I was really young. And then after that, I took an interest. Like I used to love watching like animal shows and all this stuff. So I wanted to work with animals. Um, I didn't know exactly what, but yeah, I wanted to do that. Um, It wasn't until I got to college that I was like, "Oh, well, I should probably do something in business." So I went for a business degree, and I kind of just left that there. I didn't pursue anything else, even though like I have in the past volunteered with like MDC, Department of Conservation, just for little different things, because that kind of takes me back, and I like to be outdoors and all that stuff. So there's a opportunity for me to do that kind of stuff. I do it, but it kind of goes back to that to when I was younger. I didn't know what I wanted to do with animals, but I wanted to be out there, I wanted to be with nature, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Mhm.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Um, you said you were born in Jalisco.
I was, yes.
How old were you whenever you came over?
I was just a baby. I wasn't even a year old. So uh I came up with my family. I have two older sisters. And I didn't meet any extended family of mine till I was like 8 years old. And that's when we first went back to visit, you know. So, and we were here. I had some cousins here, but that's about it. So I had no idea. So I go back and I meet all these family, and I'm like, oh man, this is so cool, you know. But yeah, it's and after that, every year we would go back every year as a kid. So that was just some of the best memories I had was going back there and just immersing myself in the culture, meeting my family, eating delicious food all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
And especially tequila, right? Tequila, the
And
land of
tequila, yeah,
tequila.
that's when I was older, but yeah. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm from a town called Jalisco, La Barca, which is technically the tequila region is they call it Los Altos, which is like the highlands. I'm right at the foot of that, so I'm not in Los Altos. I'm like in Los Bajos, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but we would go to these towns up there, and there was a particular place called Arandas, and they have like all these distilleries around, and it's just like you can see the magueys, you would see the hillsides, and they're blue. It's just awesome to see.
I
And
went there for Labor Day weekend, and I was
oh, is
amazed.
that right?
Third largest city in Mexico, humongous.
Yeah,
And I saw the magueys, the
yeah,
tequila plants. They were humongous. Very, very beautiful.
yeah, yeah,
But thank you so much for sharing everything with us, um, and for obviously, answering all of our questions, and being a leader, obviously, in the community. Um, any final remarks?
I just want to say that you know, I I'm glad you guys are doing this. I think contributions as Latinos and everything to this community and the community in general. We've made a lot of strides. We're everything, just like everybody else too. We're doctors, we're lawyers, we're musicians, we're artists, everything. So I'm just glad that we have this opportunity to have conversations like this and highlight some of the things that we do. Uh, and yeah, and show that we're contributing to the overall fabric of our community, of our city, of our nation. So
I agree. I completely agree. Um, any questions from the audience? It looks like we do not have any questions. Um, but definitely thank you so much. We definitely appreciate you being our guest today and our speaker. Um, and thank you everyone who joined. If there's not any questions, um, I think we should be good to go. Um, I'm just gonna wait a little bit if there's any questions.
and again, I want to thank you guys for having me on and inviting me, and this was great.
Yes. All right. So it looks like we're good. Um, Kelly said, thank you for the discussion. This was great. Um, but other than that, thank you again.
Okay.
And we'll definitely see you. Okay.
All
We,
right. Thank you,
we hope
Jesus.
you come visit us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope to come out.
All
Thank
right. Thank you,
you.
everyone. And thank you, Mr. Guillen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Bye bye.